Hello there, and welcome to Chip Advisor. Yes, hello there. I'm Phil. This is Chip Advisor, episode 40. Who knew we'd come this far? I am here with Lewis. How are you, Lewis?
Blessings, friends and listeners. I am doing all right, thank you. I've just come back from my annual retreat, so I was feeling very chilled out. And as Harry put on our thread, you only work one day a week, and you get to have a week off on retreat. Yes, I do. And then I got home, and the retreat quickly dissipated back into the chaos of home life. But it's good to be here.
Oh no! So, I mean, from what I saw, you were camping in a wet tent.
Yeah, pretty much me, wet tent and a book.
Oh well, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's at least it's solitary. Sometimes that's good.
It was.
We're also here with
Harry, where's Harry? Harry!
Yeah, I don't go camping anymore. I had a terrible incident in which we had a storm. I've probably told this story on this podcast before, but I'm so old I start repeating myself. But
go.
I failed to put the tent up in a storm. We then had a table booked at a pub for dinner, and so I said the fateful phrase, "Well, we'll just do it when we get back." The storm was still raging when we came back. Some friendly campsite manager, it turned out, had put down the bits of the tent that were actually sort of upright because he felt that it was all going to fall apart if he didn't do that. At which point I said, I had a sort of Basil Fawlty moment, if you know what I mean, and said, right,
Yeah.
We're going home, and stuffed this tent in the back of my car. And then we thought, well, we can't actually go home because the children are excited, and so we booked ourselves into this very swanky hotel. But because it was like midnight, they did us this fantastic deal, and we stayed the night there. So every cloud,
Wow.
and then we went, and then the clouds parted, and it was sunny the next day because we'd booked for 2 nights, and we camped the next night. So all's well that ends well. But I've never been since.
Yeah. I have some equally horrendous stories of camping as well. I'm sort of quite pleased, perhaps, that our wives aren't on this podcast of their memories of family camping trips and tents falling down or not being put up.
Yeah. I know what you mean. So you went on a family camping trip and it all went wrong and it was your fault?
Wow. Let's just say it went wrong, and a lot of us ended up sleeping on my brother's living room floor, and it was like a youth hostel situation going on with wet camping gear and multiple people sprawled across. Again, around about midnight, we arrived knocking on the door.
Was this a youth group you were leading, or was it your family?
No, it was a family trip.
Oh, okay. Thank goodness for that.
It was in the Isle of Wight, not a camping trip in the middle of North London.
Yeah.
I once. Oh, go on, Harry.
Oh well, I was just that for some reason it reminded me of Father Ted and Noel Fielding in the caravan. Have you seen that episode? Which is Graham Norton, of course, famously.
Yes.
But you're neither Irish or Roman Catholic. But anyway, sorry, Phil. What were you saying?
I once took our dear friend Anthony. I convinced him to come to a Christianish festival called Greenbelt, and he had never been camping, and he has no interest in Christianish festivals. But he wanted a weekend away, so he came along, and I bought a brand new tent, which I thought, well, that'll impress him. And my brother-in-law took that up the day before because he was going up the day before to set up all the tents, and he set up our brand new tent for us. So when we arrived, we could go straight into the tent. Anyway, the morning that we were due to drive up, I got a phone call from my brother-in-law who said, your tent, it's not here anymore. I don't know where it's gone. It must have just blown away. He said, I can't see it anywhere. And I did put it up, but it's gone. So then that was the end of, I don't know, £200 tent or something. And then on the way up, we had to pick up a Tesco value tent, and we just were like, right, 15 quid, that'll do. We'll sleep in this. And the first night it flooded, and we woke up in pools of water and just went home. It was a miserable, miserable weekend. But and he was so grumpy, old Anthony. Anyway, we're talking about Smarties today. The chocolate that is covered in a sugar crispy shell. Gents, let's get straight into Smarties. Childhood, did you prefer Smarties then, or do you prefer Smarties now?
I think I preferred Smarties then.
Would you ever go and buy Smarties now, or are they young person sweet?
Yeah, good question. They would not be my go-to choice of. I feel like perhaps have they kind of gone off the ball a little bit. Like they were really popular. Are they just less popular now, or am I just getting old?
I think you're right. I think they're definitely less popular. They didn't have any in the Spar shop the other day, and that's a good judge of.
Yeah, I did have a Smarties mug for many years, which I think came with a Smarties Easter egg.
Didn't we all?
That was a.
Yes.
Remember, it was a good mug. It was a wide rimmed mug.
Yeah. I think I know the one you're talking about. So Smarties started. Well, they started out being called something that is not Smarties. They were called chocolate beans. They were called chocolate beans for quite a long time, from sort of late 1800s, and then legally they had to change their name because people thought they were being misleading because it didn't actually contain beans. So in 1937, they had to change the name to milk chocolate in a crisp sugar shell, which they quickly rebranded as Smarties.
doesn't trip off the tongue, does it?
Exactly that. So Smarties being called Smarties is how they've been since 1937. So they were originally made in 1882 by Rowntree's of York, and then they as chocolate beans, and then they got rebranded Smarties in 1937, which they still are today.
Yeah,
they're a milk chocolate inside a crisp sugar shell. I mean, I kind of like the idea of all confectionery being called a description of what it is. It would make things so much simpler. I suppose they wouldn't need to do any branding because it would say what it is.
Honeycomb covered sphere.
Honeycomb covered sphere. Oh well, that's okay. So what's that's Maltese. We can have a little impromptu quiz here. Try and describe other brands in without naming them, because it's very difficult, because a lot of them all sound the same if you just say caramel and biscuit.
Yeah, that's true. I should say that Mike is here.
How now, Brown Cow Gang?
He is here virtually, yeah. And Mike will be taking part in our quiz, which is very exciting. Mike is here in a way. He's recorded this.
How now, Brown Cow Gang?
And you'll notice with every bit of recording you're going to hear from him at the start, he goes with his tongue. So listen carefully.
Okay.
How now, Brown Cow Gang?
Right, you spoke over it, Harry. Listen carefully.
How now, Brown Cow Gang?
There it is. So you're going to hear a lot of Mike going at the start of sentences. So please do enjoy that. Anyway, so Mike is here and has got some opinions on Smarties, which we will be hearing later on in the podcast. So Smarties, when I was younger, were my absolute favorite thing in the world. They were my favorite sweet. They were the go-to bribe for my parents. And if I ever, needed convincing of doing anything, get me some Smarties. And I remember in those days, you could get a big box of Smarties, like a box for about, I don't know, £1 or something that you'd get gifted at Christmas. So not the long spherical tubes that you'd get at Christmas, the giant ones, but the boxes of Smarties. Remember those? You used to get the fruit pastels in boxes as well.
Yes, you did. I remember the fruit pastels. I don't remember the Smarties.
Harry, do you remember the Smarties?
No, not in a big box, in a tube, and then sometimes in a bigger tube at Christmas.
Okay, but that's a shame. Yeah, I mean, I love them. There's a video which sadly has disappeared somewhere of us, the family, up at my grandparents in Coventry, and Dad must have been quite an earlier adopter to the video camera. But anyway, he was filming this Christmas where we were all opening our presents and all being adorable. At one point, Dad stamps over to the camera and turns it off. Then off camera screams at Mike because Mike kept falling around and showing off because the camera was on, goes ballistic, and then the camera comes on and you just kind of hear the end of Dad's conversation. So just sit down and be quiet and stop showing off. He's kicking off. Anyway, during this video,
It sounds like an infill to the podcast with you.
it does, yeah. It does. And in this video, there's a bit where my mum goes out the room and I've been given some Smarties as a Christmas present from one of my aunts, I think. So I'm there with some Smarties and my dad has taken I'm 3 years old. My dad has taken the tube of Smarties and said, "Oh, can I have one?" And he's taken one. And I have gone mad. I was furious about him taking one of these Smarties. So my mum walks back into the room, and I obviously wasn't aware this was being filmed. I was 3 years old. And my mum's really concerned, thinks that I'm hurt or something. And she said, "Oh, what's wrong, Philip?" And I said, "Daddy hit me really hard."
When you say this video's gone missing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's been handed in. But yeah, I was furious. I got my dad in a load of trouble with claims that he'd absolutely whacked me when actually he had taken one of my Smarties and I wasn't willing to share.
No, you've just reminded me of Smarties-based parenting that I'd completely forgotten about until you started talking about Smarties being used as a bribe. When our oldest was young, we had some friends who had a baby at sort of a very similar time to us, and they had other children, and they were probably of the stricter parenting variety than we were at the time, and they had a rule which we weren't quite aware of at the time, where we were giving Matthew at 2 or 3 sort of some Smarties, but their rule with their child and all of their children was that you could have as a treat as many Smarties as your age. Matthew was 2/3 at this time, and we were just giving him probably fun box sizes Smarties. I mean, or not.
Yeah, fun size box of Smarties with the miniature ones, so the ratio's all out on the shelf.
But still, you probably in their parenting have to be about 12 to have one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
just remember particularly feeling like awful parents where our 2-year-old was eating a tube of Smarties and their 11-year-old was having them counted out in front of
11. Well, I told you this story of the sugar on the Christmas episode where we tried with Matilda to be sugar-free until she was at least 5, and then Hal, at however old he was, 1 year and 2 months, had the fruit pastels and was just, I think the modern term is chugging them down, at about 6:30 in the morning. And I just thought I've really failed with this one. But I mean, it would work out quite well now, because I'd have 43 Smarties if we were going by that rule, and I reckon that would be plenty.
Yeah, this is it. And the thing is, though, your taste buds change, don't they? So, and I speak for me here, but I'm sure I speak for many. As you get older, you probably only need like 10 Smarties and you've got your kick of sugar. Whereas when you're, I don't know, 5, you could probably have hundreds. Do you know, I just get it's a bit too sickly having loads and loads of stuff, loads of Smarties. But parents do use Smarties. I've known children, certainly when I was younger, whose parents would have like a Smartie jar, and their rewards would be in Smarties. So if they did good listening, they would have 3 Smarties as a treat or something like that. Smarties were very much used that way, and Smarties used to be so much more fun because they had the plastic lid with the letter on.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
We-
everyone's popping that lid. You're smacking your hand on it, popping the lid across the room, aren't you?
It's a man-made weapon for
Yeah.
a child. It's perfect.
Sorry, now hold on. You were smacking your hand on it. How's that working?
You put
Oh,
the lid
Harry,
on.
you haven't lived.
Oh, you put the
No,
lid on
yeah,
the
yeah.
tube. You smack the
Yeah.
tube, and then the lid flies across the room.
Air propelled.
Yeah.
You've eaten the Smarties first.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're pushing the air out of it and it's going forward.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
How is this news to you?
I've never done this.
Oh, no, you never
Done
can
this.
because Roundtrees have changed their silly ways.
Is it because
Oh.
people were choking on the lids by putting them in their mouth?
I think it was a cost-saving measure, and it was probably before people started caring about the environment. But in hindsight, it was an environmental measure as well, in that there aren't millions of plastic lids just getting thrown away now.
Yeah, I remember there was a use for those lids. I don't know if you. This may have been only my school. Do you remember when you used to get your old BCG jab?
BCG, yeah. And we were talking about them the other day.
And
Yeah,
it used to have like a little bubble, didn't it? After you had it on your arm. And there was a thing where like people who were playing football afterwards used to tape one of the Smartie lids round it to stop it getting popped whilst playing football.
Really?
Yeah, I remember this. This is all flooding back to me as.
I vividly remember just thugs walking around school giving people
Yeah.
dead arms.
Well,
where
what
they'd
they
had a
needed to
BCG.
do was you needed a Smartie top over the top.
Yeah, exactly. It's just punch someone and go BCG. Oh, it's horrible, horrible.
True.
Because the BCG, you used to have a test injection on your wrist,
Yeah.
like the week before. That was like a flower, and if you didn't react to that, they'd give you the big one the next week.
Yeah.
Fun fact: I never had my BCG.
What? Because you reacted?
No, because I used to collapse, not during an injection, not before an injection, but about an hour after an injection. I used to just faint, which happened twice at school on previous injections. So then it was kind of decided, listen, if everyone else is going to have the tuberculosis jab, I'm not going to catch it off anyone. So we're all good.
You were some sort of test case. If we don't give it to him, he'll probably be all right. But we'll
Exactly. Currently, still no tuberculosis, but we shall see.
Blimey, I don't know how you sleep at night, quite honestly.
Pretty hardcore. But anyway, going back to the lids then. So yeah, the lids had multiple uses in my eyes, because if we got a treat such as a pack of Smarties, we mentioned before, we weren't exactly rich when we were kids, so you try and make everything last as long as possible. And I would tip the Smarties up into the lid one at a time. You'd pour it and you'd use it as like a little bowl, and then you'd tip it in rather than trying to get your finger in the tube. Very tricky. Or were you a pourer, Harry? You've got eyes that tell me you were a Smarties pourer.
I was a pourer straight in the mouth.
Oh,
is that
gosh. Oh,
Smartie shot style.
Yeah.
They must have lasted 2 seconds.
Not the whole lot, obviously.
Right.
But just, a few at a time.
Oh,
you weren't doing that?
No, because I had to make my Smarties last a whole day.
But the mistake was, if you had done that, Phil, your dad wouldn't have been nicking your Smarties from you.
Yeah.
You do not want to be handling Smarties after someone's had the tube to their mouth.
You wouldn't have had to spend Christmas Day down the station because you wouldn't have had to accuse him of that.
Brinklow Constabulary in Coventry. Yeah, this is true. In hindsight, maybe that's what I was doing wrong. But I wanted them to last. I just wanted them desperately to last. But the tubes then, so now they're hexagonal, which I hate, and that is probably the main reason I don't buy Smarties anymore, because I long for the old packaging. And they
Against
still have.
angles.
Well, I'm always against angles, yeah, but I don't like the fact that you used to be able to collect the lids. My old next door neighbour I think he was like a W away from having every letter, which he was then going to glue gun to a belt so he could wear it.
A W. I thought. Oh, hang on. I thought the letters only were linked to the word Smarties.
No,
Were they every letter in the alphabet? Were they?
An idiot
Oh.
sandwich.
Oh,
Yes,
Oh,
you
dear.
got this is the Toblerone again. You're getting confused with Toblerone,
maybe.
which has got the spelled out on the pyramids. I have absolutely no recollection of whether it was just spelled out Smarties or whether it was a whole lot. Presumably, Phil's neighbour is testament to the fact that it was the whole lot.
Yeah, it was definitely the whole lot, and you could the idea was, I mean, it was a good sales ploy really, because you'd either buy one pack and then you'd maybe get a B or something, and then you'd think, oh, I want to get all the other letters, or you would buy a pack because you wanted to find the letter your name began with, or little things like that. It was a good marketing ploy, but crucially, the reason people wanted a plastic lid, if they were a child like me, is you finish the Smarties and then you've got a weapon, and you just and you see how far you can get the. I mean, it's a great fun game. See how far you can get the Smarties lid. You know, it was great. Anyway, back to Smarties. As I said, they changed their packaging in 2005, and since then it's been a downhill slope. The colours of the Smarties have also changed. In the original Smarties, there was a light brown, which in 1988 got replaced by the blue Smartie. But then there were rumours. Do you remember the rumours about the blue Smarties?
I do. This was quite the news story. Is it 1988? I thought it was later than that.
What was it?
Well,
Drugs?
the news, the story about the blue actually came out in 2006.
Oh no, okay. I was somewhere in between those two. I was thinking. But
Okay.
There was something about the kind of the additives in there sending people hyperactive and stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was apparently not true, but it did force them to briefly remove the blue Smartie, replace it with a white Smartie, very temporarily, and then they brought in a lighter blue, which was made from different natural products, which which they still use now. Gents, little fun fact for you.
If you're about to tell me that the orange Smartie isn't flavored orange, then we're in big trouble.
I'm not, although my boss believes that, and he is a fool.
He believes that it's not flavored orange.
Yeah, he believes it tastes just like the rest. It's just
Okay.
a messing with your mind, just the
Right.
rumours.
Right.
But the orange Smartie is not the only flavoured Smartie to have existed.
But the only current flavored one.
Currently, it's the only flavoured one.
Yeah.
But dark brown Smarties
yeah.
that were produced before 1958. So that's before even Mike would have tried Smarties. So
Crikey.
they had a plain chocolate centre.
Right.
And the light brown ones were coffee flavoured.
Ooh. Right, I see.
So, but the best Smartie is the orange, right?
No.
Well, yeah, because it's the differential in the pack, isn't it?
Yeah.
No,
It's something different.
It's the worst one.
What?
Oh.
It's the worst one.
Oh, Lewis, you're such a misery. What do you mean? Why?
Because I prefer normal milk chocolate over orange chocolate. These newfangled ideas.
Okay.
Oh, you have to be contrary, don't you? Oh dear.
I mean, I'll eat the orange one. I'm not gonna.
Of course you will.
I'm not gonna discard them. But yeah, I wouldn't miss it.
Well, when you're funneling them into your mouth, you don't. There's no room to dictate when you eat the different colours.
If you're pouring one into a lid and doing it one at a time,
if you're pouring one into a lid and then using little knife and fork to cut them up so they last longer, then obviously you've got scope to be
genuinely
more discerning.
My eldest daughter if she has something like a chocolate bar or something, she gets a plate and a knife and she cuts it into bits and will set a timer and go, right, I'll have one this minute, and then she'll wait until the next minute and she'll have another little bit to make stuff last.
She should make it a bit like the old children's party game. Do you remember the one when you used to you sit in a circle and you had the dairy milk bar in the middle?
Yeah.
When you rolled a 6, you had to put on the hat and the gloves and
Classic.
cut a cup of chocolate.
Cut
bar
them
with
up.
knife and
Yeah.
fork.
Yeah, absolutely classic game. Anyway, in the 1950s and 1960s, the tagline for Smarties was "Buy some for Lulu,"
Oh,
which was a bit weird, but that was because the developer of the advert, his daughter was called Lulu, and the idea was that you buy them for friends as treats. Then they had to stop using that tagline because Lulu appeared and started singing, and it got very confusing, and Lulu didn't want to be inundated with Smarties, so they stopped that and used a previous slogan, which was, "Do you eat the red ones last?" Have you ever heard that?
no, but it makes sense because you do often say the red something, not necessarily Smarties, but other confectionery, you leave the red ones to last, don't you?
Well, they're strawberry flavored, absolutely, or raspberry. I know you're a big fan. Listen to last week's pod if
Raspberry,
you want.
yeah.
What other confectionery do you leave red ones to the end?
Well,
I'm intrigued.
Because they're the best
Starburst?
flavors.
Bit of
Yeah,
apple
true.
fruit.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the only time that wasn't true. Do you remember Jolly Ranchers?
Oh yes.
They
I
are
remember the name, but I don't remember what they were. What were they?
Well, they were just a sort of like hard, sort of Fox's Glacier fruit, weren't they? But in a
Yeah,
packet.
boiled sweet. Yeah.
Boiled sweet is that's probably the easiest way of describing them. But the green one, I always save the green one to last in those packets because that was the apple, and that, in my opinion, tasted the nicest.
Delicious. Yeah. An apple Jolly Rancher. Oh, I could go for one of them right now.
I wonder whether, I've never looked. You probably buy them on Amazon, but you
can
can't
buy
get them in the shops anymore.
No, you can buy them in like the American aisle in a supermarket sometimes.
Okay.
Because they're big in America.
Yeah,
much
I'm
like-
sure they're still sold in America, but you don't seem to see them.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
The taglines in other countries.
Yeah.
In Germany, the tagline is "Lots and lots of colourful Smarties."
Brilliant.
In Slovakia, it is, well, in Germany, it's actually "Vila Vila bunta Smarties," which translates to "lots and lots of colourful Smarties." In Slovakia, and I'll give this a go, it's "Farebni svet verhersti," which means "colourful world in the palm of your hand."
Oh, I like that.
In South Africa, the slogan is "What a lot I got," which yeah.
What's that? What a lot I've got.
What a lot I got. What a lot I got. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Whenever I hear anyone doing a South African accent, I just think of Alan Partridge going full beam. But anyway, that is the tagline. I can't do accents. Can't do accents.
No,
Mike's
apparently
not
not.
here. No, clearly. Anyway, to quickly avoid a lawsuit, let's hit into a quiz. And
Well, from South Africa or Alan Partridge?
from the whole of South Africa. Let's do a quiz and introduce someone who's very bad at doing accents also. Here's a quiz. It's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz. So, our dear friend, and indeed some of our brothers, is Mike, and he has apologized for his absence, but he has sent us a lot of voice notes as answers to questions about Smarties. So the quiz today is, can you guess what answer Mike gave to these questions?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So how well do you know Mike, I suppose?
We're looking to not edit this podcast, no?
Yeah.
So
You're
this
keen for it to
podcast-
go out.
You'll be able to tell already is going out unedited, because as soon as I finish recording, I'm going to France. So anyway, let's see. The first question I asked Mike was, what is the best color Smartie? So a simple one to start. Harry, you can go first.
Well, I mean, I can try to think of some sort of smart answer, but I'm just going to go straight down the line and say red.
Lewis.
Now, does Mike like orange chocolate? I'm going to go orange. I don't know.
You're going to go orange. Okay. Interestingly, the orange Smarties do taste of orange. They did historically have orange chocolate inside, but now the orange flavoring is actually on the
outside.
sugar shell.
Yeah.
Because that way they don't have to manufacture different batches of chocolate, and they're making a different color sugar shell anyway. So it makes sense. So you've gone orange, Lewis, have you?
Yep.
Okay, let's hear what he says.
The best coloured Smartie, I would say, is pink to make the boys wink.
Oh, come on, guys.
Are all of his answers in rhyme?
Okay, here we go. Rhyming couplets.
I think that is the only one which he answers in rhyme. So none from none for both of you. Next, I asked him, if you could create a new flavour of Smartie, what would it be? Lewis.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to go off-piste here because I feel like he would go off-piste. And I remember on the Easter egg episode, I'm pretty sure he was talking about cheese Easter eggs.
Oh.
So I think he would create a cheese Smartie.
Right. Okay. And Harry, what do you think?
Well, I mean,
would you like to win a quiz, Harry? Because today's your day.
I mean, it's caramel. He's quite keen on caramel, and he talks about caramel a lot.
Okay, let's find out.
So a new flavour of Smartie. If we're sticking with the current format, I'd like to add some banana ones. And let's make the yellow ones banana. Let's not mess around with blue and raspberry. Also, if I could change, I'd like to pop Galaxy chocolate in there because I think the Nestle chocolate is substandard.
He's got a fair point on the Nestle chocolate, hasn't he?
I mean, I'd always go Cadbury's as my preferred, but yeah, I could, the Smarties chocolate isn't great. No.
I mean, if you want Galaxy chocolate in a sugar shell, then you go for Minstrels. I mean,
that's absolutely true.
Which are better than Smarties.
They are better than Smarties. Okay. Guys, I've given you a couple of fairly simple ones there.
Nice.
And you've got no points from any of them. So next I asked Mike, what is the best round-shaped thing? So what is the best round-shaped thing? Harry, what did Mike say?
Round-shaped thing?
Yeah.
Not spherical, just a disc.
Well, round in any way. I mean, Smarties are oblate spheroids.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all knew that, but we just didn't
fine.
like to say. Well, let's say a football.
Oh, that's where I was going.
Good one. Lewis.
That is where I was going. Okay. What might my best round shape thing? A chocolate orange.
Okay, let's find out.
Best round things to eat, pea fritters, and just to be a disco ball. I feel like a disco ball has versatility. Maybe it could be a disco ball that you could also double up as a football.
I mean,
I mean, as points I feel are going to be limited. Harry, you get the point on that.
Excellent.
You get the point. You've done well. Okay. Next, any childhood memories of Smarties? What were Mike's childhood memories of Smarties? And they don't involve accusing his father.
That's where we were all going with that.
Lewis.
Okay. Childhood memories of Smarties. I'm gonna say paying one of his brothers to go down to the local Spar/co-op to buy him some Smarties because he didn't want to walk there.
Certainly was the case with pizzas. Little packs of pizzas, 5 for £1, frozen pizzas. Yeah. Off I pop, 50p in the pocket.
It's going to be, at Christmas, being jealous of how slowly his brother could eat his Smarties. Because he just found them so delicious, he just had to eat them all at once.
Well, you've both overthought this, I think.
Childhood memories of Smarties are just them getting too hot and melting and kind of giving me multicoloured hands.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that Smarties are in the shell is to make them a sweet that you can eat when it's hot. But obviously not too hot because they will still melt. But okay, next question I asked Mike. Do you like Smarties in things, e.g. cookies, or are you a Smarties purist? As in someone who would eat them just on their own?
Well, I mean, it's 50-50. I'm going to say in things.
Well, I'm losing. Let's go purist.
Here we go.
I think I'm whatever the opposite to a Smartie purist would be, in that I prefer Smarties as part of things, whether that's down at the old ICF, the old ice cream factory at Pizza Hut, or in a McFlurry, in a cookie, in a chocolate bar, the Smarties chocolate bar. I'm quite a fan. But on their own, I don't find them particularly exciting.
Oh, Lewis.
I mean, you have to say, I think he's taken a decisive lead in this quiz there. Is there any way back?
The thing that annoys me is that the drop off from Smarties or M&Ms or Minstrels, the drop off to generic chocolate beans that you'd get in Pick a Mix or that you'd get in cookies or something from Morrison's, the drop off is huge. The generic chocolate beans have a horrible taste to them.
The chocolate in them is horrible, isn't it?
It's so rubbish.
Yeah,
and that's going from a Nestle chocolate, which in itself isn't great.
Yeah, well, the ones in the ice cream factory and also McFlurry, I'm thinking, although I can't be certain, are smaller, aren't they? And I think actually it works better in a smaller chocolate.
And the old horrible ones in the Pick a Mix, are they plain chocolate rather than milk chocolate? Is that why they're horrible? Or they just
no, I
chocolate?
don't think so. I think
they're
it's
just nasty.
Standard of chocolate.
No. Fair enough.
Okay, I asked him a question which I haven't found a voice recording for, but he did send it, so we'll just have to. I'll tell you the answer: Smarties, M&Ms, vice versa, or generic chocolate beans. Which would he have chosen?
Say that again, sorry, Phil.
Smarties, M&Ms, vice versa. Oh, rest in peace. Or generic chocolate beans. Which one does Mike prefer?
M&Ms.
I mean, he's a bit of a nostalgiast, so I'm going to say vice versa.
Oh, Harry, you're good at this game. You're good.
I think it's all over.
It may well be soon. Okay, Harry.
Yeah.
What was Mike's Smartie eating technique? I mean, we've all got one, right? I mean, you are clearly down the hatch sort of a guy, but I am putting the Smartie in my mouth, sucking it until the shell is soft, then getting it between my front teeth and just splitting the shell in two, pocketing the shell with the chocolate still in it into the side of my cheek.
Yeah.
Eating that half shell, getting rid of that.
Like a
then
hamster.
I'm a bit like that. Then I'm retrieving with my tongue. This is quite in depth.
Yeah.
I feel Yeah. So I'm retrieving it with my tongue, and then I'm sucking sucking the chocolate out of the rest of the shell until it's all melted on my tongue and then crunching the outer shell. Anyway, how do you eat yours?
I mean, I just need to point out to listeners that Phil is in charge of the soundboard, so he suggested that he felt that that description of him eating a Smartie was in some way erotic, which I truly don't think.
Well, let's let the listeners be the judge, Harry.
I mean, yeah, okay, all the jokes.
ShipAdvisorPod@gmail.com was that exciting for you?
Yeah, so I think he is. Do you know what? I don't know. Do you remember that all the three of us were at a quiz the other week, and one of the rounds was, what did my daughter say about this? And and it was quite the most random thing that anyone ever heard. So I think he took 3 at a time, and he placed one in one side pouch stroke cheek, one in the other, and then one on his tongue, and he waited to see how long each one of them took to melt, and then he would be able to judge which part of his mouth was the warmest. And then but knowing Mike, halfway through the experiment he's got bored or distracted by something else and then just chewed them.
Okay, that is very in-depth. Lewis?
Yep.
Well, we know that he prefers them in something else, so he'd get a tube, then he would call your dear mother to make a batch of cookies and place the Smarties within them before letting them cool and then enjoying them as part of a cookie.
Because and this was Christmas morning, and she was cooking the 14 different meals she had to cook for all the members of your family, and now some extra cookies.
And all this has been caught on video camera.
Yes.
I'll tell you, if it was Kev, the middle brother, I think Mum would have done that for him. Favorite child.
Favorite child.
Yeah, favorite child. Anyway, let's see what Mike's smart eating technique is.
How do I eat them? Well, much like, to quote the chef in South Park when singing Chocolate Salty Balls, I just pop them in my mouth and suck them.
There we go. Harry is holding his head
Yes.
in shame. Okay, so no points there, I'm afraid. The last question I asked him, if you could reverse one other thing that has been done to help climate change, what would it be? So the Smarties lids are no longer plastic. So, but I would say that it's between putting Smarties lids back on and not having paper bags at Morrison's, because they give you paper cuts and you can't use them to line bins. So I would say it's between those two things that I would reverse. What would Mike reverse?
Well, I wonder if one of my son's pet peeve and hate of things is the soft drink bottle caps that now don't come off fully. That drives him. It makes him so angry. I can imagine Mike getting angry about that too.
Okay, Harry.
That is an incredibly good answer, I think. And then at the football, you're not allowed to keep the drinks that you purchase at the kiosk. You're not allowed to have the lid because you're not supposed to take them home or something. And you
don't throw them full of liquid onto the pitch.
Oh, okay. And so anyway, so they so I've witnessed these students who work behind the thing wrenching these lids off, because they've been told they're not allowed to keep them on. So what would Mike doesn't care about the environment at all, and so he thinks that
I'm pretty sure he was in the Green Party at one point in time.
Oh, yeah, but that was just another passing fad. I
mean, he did lay some AstroTurf quite shortly after that in the garden to replace his grass.
So the things that he would reverse is that people should be allowed to smoke in public again. That's what he's reversing.
Okay. Right, fair enough. Okay, let's hear what he says.
So I am a paid-up member of the Green Party. They get £4.95 a month from me. so this is slightly controversial, but I would suggest that we ditch recycling because it is an absolute pain in the backside. I know we're saving polar bears. I like polar bears, but a quick Google has led me to believe there are still 31,000 of the blighters around. So if we lose a few, I'm okay with that if it means I don't have to sort my bins.
So there you go.
Lovely.
And not even a small segment of recycling, like having those stupid paper straws in a McDonald's milkshake, but all recycling.
All recycling should be banned. Yeah, fair enough.
I am tempted to give Lewis a point for knowing that Mike's in the Green Party.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
It won't make a difference to the score, but anything you would reverse personally if you could? You just think, wow, that doesn't matter too much. Would it be the lids on the drinks? Because you could still recycle them.
Yeah, it's a very that is a great shout and should have been the answer. So yeah, give Lewis a point.
Okay, I'll give Lewis a point, but Harry wins.
Is it 'cause I'm cool?
Congratulations, Harry.
Thanks. Thank you.
You did well there. And thanks
I had the
to
great
Mike.
honour of knowing Mike better than Lewis, which I'm not actually sure it's.
Yeah, well, honour, that's something.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got some listener questions. Just a few listener questions because we're very late announcing that we were actually going to record this. But we have got it's not even a question, it's a point from Joe. Okay, so Joe says she doesn't have a question this week because Smarties are a no-go zone in her household since Nestle brought the brand. However, she would like to commend Harry on his commitment to the podcast, answering her question last week with a live taste test of strawberries.
Thank you, Joe. You are my favourite listener.
There we go, and only. So that's good. The situation with Nestle, if you Google controversies of Nestle, there are huge quantities of things that they've done wrong, but a lot of it based around child slavery.
Yeah.
They've not got the best reputation as a company of Nestle.
No, I don't think we need to go into that. But
Fine.
they do have an unnecessary T in their name, which annoys me.
Yeah, and I did used to call them Nestle. Yeah, also irritating. Okay, Claire says, if you could have one other colour that tasted like the superior orange, what would it be and what would it taste of?
I don't know what.
Well, I'd have a collaboration between Lindor and Smarties. So a smaller cold capsule. That's what you could call them.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good catchy name. Yeah,
cold capsule. Get on it.
I don't know what colour, but I'd want like a Revels one where you don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think the Revels one is that Revels make Revels already, don't they?
They do, but just one, like in the pack, that's a gold colour one. If you put like a gold one in there, and you don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah,
good. I like that. Yeah, I like that. But what could it be? Because you've still got to keep the shape to keep the mystery. So you've got limited options, I suppose. You've got all your fruits. You got your coffee.
It could be a coffee, couldn't it? You could probably, raisins. You're going to struggle with.
Yeah, raisins you're not going to get in there unless you're.
I'm sure you can make a disc-shaped honeycomb version.
Yeah, Marmite.
A lot of crunch. That would be a lot of crunch, wouldn't it?
Too much crunch in that instance. Yeah, possibly.
Imagine sitting opposite someone eating that on a train or other public transport. That would be hideous. It'd be like Mike once chewed a pear drop down the line whilst he was in the conversation with me, and that was absolutely obscene.
Yeah, loud.
Very much so. Dave says, surely only Smarties have the answer. And Claire asks, to what question? I have researched this and cannot find the question. Any of you got ideas on what the question may be? The slogan that Smarties used.
Yeah. Oh, was actually an official
That was the tagline,
Smarties.
wasn't it? Only Smarties have
Oh
the
yeah.
answer.
Oh,
What is a very mediocre piece of confectionery? Only Smarties have the answer.
yeah. Is it really orange? Only Smarties have the answer. Yeah.
Do you remember? This isn't the answer to the question. Do you remember Giant Smarties?
Yes.
Yeah.
The late 90s, they had Giant Smarties, didn't they? And they have Smarties like mini eggs at Easter, which are not as good as just normal Smarties. The shell is too thick. The ratio's all out of whack. It's not good.
Well, you used to get. Do you mean a chocolate egg with Smarties actually inside?
Oh no, because that was a real treat. Because
Yes.
you used to get the Smarties within the actual egg rather than
Yeah.
in a pack on the side. No, I'm talking. You get like packs of Cadbury's mini eggs.
Yeah.
Smarties do Smarties eggs.
Oh yes, I've had those. Yeah, and it's too much chocolate.
Yeah, it's not right. It's just stay in your lane, Smarties.
Yeah.
James said, "When did Orange Smarties first taste of orange? And is there a backstory about the addition of the orange flavoring? I seem to remember years ago people claimed they tasted of orange, but Nestle denied and said that they all taste the same." Nestle haven't denied it. That was a online rumor, and they started tasting of orange in 1958.
Yeah.
I think.
I presume they always have.
Yeah, it might have even been before, but the article I'm reading doesn't tell me. And let's face it, I'd hate to open another tab. So let's assume 1958.
Yeah.
And as discussed, it's now the shell that tastes of orange. So next time I have an orange Smartie, with my technique, once I've had the shell, the chocolate should just taste like every other chocolate, but I will have
You'd have
slightly orange saliva, won't I?
orange residue. Yeah. So really, to do the experiment, you've got to wash off the colouring.
Yeah, and they do wash off. If children sometimes, I don't know why they do this, but you'll get like someone who will suck a Smartie and then take it out their mouth to look at it,
Yeah.
and they'll put it back in. Why do they do that?
I don't know, but I tell you what, actually, that's come on to my pet hate, which is a Smartie in the top of a cupcake, which then bleeds into the fondant icing. Don't like that.
An excellent point.
Yeah.
Smarties bleed a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, Claire asks, "How do you eat yours? One at a time, tube in your mouth and chug, or handful and face palm them in, or possibly in color order?"
No, tube and chug. That's what you want to do.
So wasteful.
the frivolity.
Lewis?
Yeah, tube and chug.
Oh my goodness. Just because then if you do that, you're only gonna weaken the flavour of the orange ones.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's also it's quite nice. It sort of goes back to our strawberry lacing from last week, that having a lot of them in your mouth is actually quite nice. There's quite a nice sort of different feeling of sort of rattling them all around.
I don't know if I've ever done that. I don't know if I've ever been brave enough.
Well,
if they still sold the boxes, it would be worth it, but it seems like a waste of a tube. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't, and I'm not sure actually, because I mean, it's a very long time since I've had a tube of Smarties, but I think the chuggability of the new all paper casing is not as good as the old cylinder.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Because it's not completely open at the end, isn't it?
It's got a lip. You're right.
It has.
Yeah, so I don't know whether. Yeah.
And you can never reseal it properly. That reseal happens.
Did they change the shape solely
to
make it the ability to put a card lid on it and to reseal.
Yeah,
That's
because
quite
Yes.
difficult if it's round, isn't it?
yeah, because it's hexagonal, it all folds onto itself, and they can make it so it kind of clips over the little paper tab on the other side. Yeah, terrible.
Well, while
So
you're on
I've
holiday, when you're on holiday, Phil, in the next week, have a treat yourself. Do a whole tube of Smarties in one go.
do they sell Smarties in France?
Oh, they on the ferry.
Oh, I'm going in the tunnel. Going in the tunnel.
Oh.
Yeah, I wonder
At
if
the
they sell.
last service station in Blighty.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I'll have a look. I'll have a look. Yeah, we'll see. We
Well,
have
get a
got
whole
stuff.
bag of them. You can get a grab bag.
Oh yeah, but they're tight. There's. I mean, if the boxes of the 90s could see the bags, they would laugh and say, "You are a rubbish version of myself." The boxes were so stacked full of Smarties, and the bags are just shrinkflation. What is that? It is
I
rubbish.
think that's just your memory. I've got to be honest. I don't think
You
they were
reckon?
stock full. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Okay.
just
Okay.
your flowered childhood memories.
Okay. I didn't want to do this, but I'm gonna look at it.
Weights, weights and
Yeah.
measures.
Right.
Yeah, weights and measures. Yeah, I want to see. I want to see. I need to research what it was. So, and like I said, I'm not editing this podcast, so you are going to have to talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I don't remember the box. So was it like a Maltesers box, or was it like
Kind of. Yeah.
yeah? You used to
Yeah.
get fruit pastels in boxes. I remember I used to get them at the cinema. If ever I went to the cinema, and
yeah, fruit and wine and not wine gums.
fruit gums. Yeah.
The old filling rippers.
Yes.
Oh, fruit gums.
Do
Yeah,
they don't exist anymore, do they?
Oh no, you can still get a fruit gum. I quite like a
Can you?
fruit gum. Yeah,
Ah.
but they do stick to your teeth.
I have discussed before that I used to keep them in my socks, fruit gums, just to try and prevent other people from eating my sweets.
Oh, for them to last longer.
Yeah. Play a game of football, grab a quick smelly fruit gum out my sock. Yeah. It's strange that I didn't have many girlfriends at that time. Yeah, I
Surprised you didn't need a BCG after doing that.
Yeah, very true. Very
Oh,
true.
goodness.
I cannot find any information about these boxes. Oh, hang on. Smarties rectangular boxes, 410 grams.
Right.
I mean, that's quite a lot.
That is quite a lot.
Yeah, that feels like it feels almost like I've won there, really. I mean, they can't be 400. That's nearly half a kilo. There's lots of pictures of the boxes online, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But none of them show the back, which gives you the grammage.
Yeah, I mean the old grab bags, 105 grams.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's peanuts, isn't it? That's nothing.
Yeah.
not
Well,
gonna
okay.
last
Well, that's
You
not.
couldn't get peanuts hidden in one.
No. I mean that cannot be what I'm thinking of in terms of the boxes then, because those fruit pastel boxes were pretty small. So if they're not, they can't be the same as that. I mean, you know, 410 grams. That's a Maltesers size box, surely.
Oh, here we go. I found one. Hang on. I found one. Oh no, this is a much more recent one. It was a 120 gram box. But even so,
much more recent.
Much
Here he goes.
no, that looks to be.
Perhaps you haven't won after all, Phil, as you so confidently just announced. Well, that's still more than a grab bag. So you're technically right, but only by 15 grams. So
Yeah, I mean,
take that victory.
if someone can get back to us and let us know the weight of those boxes, it is
Preferably from
frustrating.
Roundtrees.
It is frustrating. I don't know, but I have got to go on holiday now. So,
Okay.
so yeah. Anyway, any other business, gents? Lewis?
Just to say, you can buy boxes of fruit pastels in South Africa from Springbok Delights, and I'd like Phil to say that in a South African accent before he leaves.
What a lot I got.
No other business.
No.
Okay.
Does Mike have any other business?
Let's press one of his buttons. I don't know which one this would be.
Childhood memories of Smarties are.
No, we don't do it.
No,
we
don't
need
need
to
to
hear
hear that again.
Mike says,
How now, brown cow gang?
Lovely stuff. I wish he had paused between cow and gang, but anyway, let's not worry about that.
"Why does it say? Does it make it sound like he's talking to a cow gang?"
Yes, it does.
How now,
Brown?
brown cow gang?
Oh yeah, it does.
Just a slight pause would have made all the difference there. But
It would have.
you know, let's not let it besmirch what has otherwise been a very enjoyable podcast.
Thank you. It's a lovely view for you and not the listeners to take.
Yeah,
Right. Well, have a
me
good
and
week, everyone.
Joe will agree with me.
Joe will. Okay. Cheers, guys. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.